What if a single discovery could change your entire perspective on life? Join Jack Thornton, a wealthy businessman, as he buys an old mansion and stumbles upon a hidden room that reveals the incredible story of Eleanor Whitfield, a woman whose compassion and generosity touched countless lives. From the musty basement to the journals filled with heartfelt entries, Jack's journey takes him from opulence to a newfound purpose. The rain pounded on the roof of the old mansion, masking the sound of footsteps echoing through the empty hallways. Jack Thornton stood in the foyer, gazing up at the intricate molding and grand chandelier. He had always been drawn to things with history, and this mansion was a treasure trove of the past. The realtor had told him it was built in the late 1800s and had seen many owners, each leaving their mark. Jack, with his vast fortune and penchant for impulse buys, had purchased it without a second thought. As he wandered from room to room, Jack couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. Each room told a story. The parlor with its faded wallpaper and dusty piano, the library lined with shelves of leather-bound books, the ballroom with its cracked marble floor and towering windows. He imagined the lives that had played out within these walls, the laughter and tears, the celebrations and farewells. Jack made his way down a narrow staircase leading to the basement. The air grew cooler and mustier with each step. He flicked on the light switch, and a single bulb flickered to life, casting long shadows on the stone walls. The basement was cluttered with old furniture, crates, and various relics of the past. Jack walked slowly, his footsteps muffled by the thick layer of dust on the floor. As he navigated the maze of forgotten belongings, something caught his eye. In the far corner, partially hidden behind an old wardrobe, was a small, slightly ajar door. Jack frowned, puzzled. He didn't remember seeing this door in the floor plans. Curiosity getting the better of him, he pushed the wardrobe aside and approached the door. The door was made of heavy oak, its surface scarred and weathered by time. Jack reached out and pushed it open, the hinges groaning in protest. A rush of stale air greeted him, and he coughed, waving away the dust. He pulled out his flashlight and shone it into the darkness beyond. The beam of light revealed a narrow staircase descending into the shadows. Jack hesitated for a moment, then took a deep breath and stepped through the doorway. The steps creaked under his weight as he descended, the air growing colder with each step. At the bottom, he found himself in a small, hidden room. The room was unlike any other in the mansion. It was cramped and cluttered, filled with old furniture covered in white sheets, cobweb-covered books, and a large, ornate chest. Jack's heart quickened. What secrets had this room kept hidden for so long? He moved the flashlight around, illuminating the corners of the room. Dust motes danced in the beam of light, creating an ethereal atmosphere. Jack approached the chest, his fingers trembling with anticipation. He knelt and slowly lifted the lid. Inside, he found a collection of journals, photographs, and handmade artifacts. The journals were bound in leather, their pages yellowed with age. The photographs were black and white, capturing moments frozen in time. The artifacts were delicate and intricate, each one telling a story of its own. Jack picked up one of the journals and carefully opened it. The handwriting was elegant and precise, the ink slightly faded. The first entry was dated June 3, 1892. It began with a simple greeting, "To whoever finds this, my name is Eleanor Whitfield." Jack settled onto an old, dusty chair and began to read. Eleanor's words painted vivid pictures of her life, her experiences, and her compassion for others. She wrote about the people she had helped, the struggles they faced, and the triumphs they achieved. Her tone was warm and heartfelt, and Jack could almost hear her voice as he read. As he turned the pages, he felt a connection to Eleanor, a woman he had never met but who had lived in this very house more than a century ago. Her dedication to helping others was evident in every word, and Jack found himself deeply moved by her stories. He set the journal aside and picked up a photograph. It was a portrait of Eleanor, her eyes kind and her smile gentle. Jack stared at the photo, feeling a strange sense of kinship. Here was a woman who had used her resources and influence to make a difference in the world, something he had never truly considered. Jack continued to explore the hidden room, examining the artifacts and reading more of Eleanor's journals. Each entry revealed more about her character and the lives she had touched. The handmade artifacts were gifts from those she had helped, tokens of gratitude that spoke volumes about the impact she had on their lives. Time seemed to stand still as Jack lost himself in Eleanor's world. The rain outside had stopped, and the only sound was the occasional creak of the old house settling. Jack felt a growing sense of purpose, a desire to do something meaningful with his wealth and influence. He closed the last journal and stood up, feeling a newfound determination. The hidden room had revealed more than just secrets of the past, it had shown him a path forward. Jack knew that his life was about to change in ways he could never have imagined. As he climbed the narrow staircase and emerged back into the basement, Jack felt a sense of clarity. The mansion was not just a relic of the past, it was a beacon of potential. He had the means to make a difference, just as Eleanor had. And he was determined to honor her legacy. Jack made his way back to the foyer, his mind racing with ideas and plans. He knew it wouldn't be easy, but he was ready for the challenge. The old mansion had given him more than a place to live, it had given him a purpose. And for the first time in a long while, Jack felt truly alive. The morning sun filtered through the tall windows of the mansion, casting a warm glow on the dust-covered furniture. Jack Thornton stood in the hidden room, once again drawn to the remnants of Eleanor Whitfield's life. He carefully picked up another journal, feeling the weight of its history in his hands. The leather binding was cracked and worn, evidence of the many years it had been hidden away. Jack opened it to the first page, eager to delve deeper into Eleanor's world. October 14, 1892, he read aloud, his voice echoing softly in the confined space. Today, I met a family in dire need of assistance. The father, John, lost his job due to an injury, and they are struggling to make ends meet. I offered to help with their rent and provide some food. Their gratitude was overwhelming, and I am reminded of why I do this work. Jack paused, imagining Eleanor in that moment, offering help with a kind and open heart. He felt a growing admiration for her compassion and dedication. He continued reading, learning more about the people Eleanor had helped. Each entry was a window into a different life, a different struggle, and each time, Eleanor's response was the same, selfless and generous. One particular entry stood out. November 5, 1892, it began. Today, I received a gift from John and his family. It is a small, handcrafted wooden box, beautifully carved with intricate designs. They made it themselves as a token of their appreciation. I am humbled by their gesture and will treasure it always. Jack's eyes scanned the room, searching for the box mentioned in the journal. He spotted it on a shelf, partially hidden behind a stack of old books. He reached for it, brushing away the dust. The box was indeed a work of art, the carvings delicate and detailed. Jack opened it carefully and found it empty, but its significance was not lost on him. This was a symbol of the bond Eleanor had formed with those she helped. As Jack continued to explore the hidden room, he found more artifacts, each with its own story. A patchwork quilt, stitched with care by a grateful mother. A collection of handmade toys, given by children whose lives Eleanor had touched. Each item was a testament to the impact she had on the community, and Jack felt a deepening respect for her legacy. Inspired by Eleanor's example, Jack decided to learn more about the mansion's history and the people who had lived there. He spent hours poring over old documents, maps, and photographs, piecing together the story of the house and its former occupants. He discovered that Eleanor had inherited the mansion from her parents and had turned it into a sanctuary for those in need. She had opened her doors to anyone who required assistance, offering not just material support but also kindness and understanding. Jack's admiration for Eleanor grew with each new discovery. He found himself imagining her life in the mansion, the daily routines and the challenges she faced. He pictured her welcoming people into her home, offering them a warm meal and a listening ear. The hidden room, once a forgotten corner of the mansion, had become a place of profound significance. One evening, as Jack was reading another of Eleanor's journals, he was struck by a particular passage. December 12, 1892, it began. I have been thinking a lot about wealth and its true value. It is not the accumulation of riches that brings happiness, but the use of those riches to improve the lives of others. I am grateful for the means to help those in need, and I hope to inspire others to do the same. Jack closed the journal, deeply moved by Eleanor's words. He realized that his own views on wealth had been shallow and materialistic. Eleanor had understood that true wealth was not measured in money but in the positive impact one could have on the world. Jack felt a sense of clarity and purpose, a desire to follow in Eleanor's footsteps and use his resources to make a difference. The next day, Jack decided to take action. He reached out to local historians and community leaders, seeking to learn more about the current needs of the community. He met with people who ran shelters, food banks, and support groups, listening to their stories and learning about their challenges. Jack was determined to use his wealth and influence to support these efforts, just as Eleanor had done. One afternoon, as Jack was meeting with a group of volunteers at a local shelter, he shared the story of Eleanor Whitfield and her legacy. "I recently discovered a hidden room in my mansion," he began, filled with journals and artifacts from a remarkable woman named Eleanor Whitfield. "She dedicated her life to helping others, and her story has inspired me to do the same." The volunteers listened intently, moved by Eleanor's story and Jack's commitment to continue her work. Together, they brainstormed ways to expand their efforts, leveraging Jack's resources to reach more people in need. Jack felt a sense of fulfillment and purpose he had never experienced before. The mansion, once a symbol of his wealth and status, had become a beacon of hope and possibility. As Jack returned home that evening, he walked through the mansion with a new perspective. The grand rooms and elaborate decor were no longer just a display of opulence, they were a reminder of the responsibility that came with his fortune. Jack knew that his life had taken a new direction, one that was guided by the principles of compassion and generosity. In the quiet of the hidden room, Jack sat with Eleanor's journals once more. He felt a deep connection to her, as if she were guiding him from beyond the pages. The mansion was not just a place to live, it was a legacy to be honored and continued. And Jack was ready to embrace that legacy, knowing that true wealth was found in the lives he could touch and the difference he could make. The autumn leaves crunched under Jack Thornton's boots as he walked through the mansion's sprawling garden. The air was crisp and filled with the scent of fallen leaves and earth. Jack had spent the morning reflecting on his newfound purpose, inspired by Eleanor Whitfield's legacy. The hidden room had become a sanctuary of sorts, a place where he could connect with Eleanor's spirit and draw strength from her words. Today, Jack planned to delve deeper into Eleanor's journals, seeking to understand not just her actions but the motivations and philosophies that drove her. He carried a thermos of coffee and a blanket, ready to spend hours immersed in her world. As he settled into a comfortable chair in the hidden room, he opened another journal, this one dated 1893. January 10, 1893, Eleanor had written, "The winter has been harsh, and many families are struggling to stay warm. I have been distributing firewood and blankets, but I fear it is not enough. I wish I could do more, but my resources are limited. Still, I am determined to help in any way I can." Jack could almost feel the biting cold Eleanor described, and he was moved by her relentless dedication. He read on, uncovering stories of people Eleanor had helped, each entry a testament to her unwavering compassion. There was Thomas, a young boy who had fallen ill and whose family couldn't afford medicine. Eleanor had not only provided the necessary funds but had also visited Thomas regularly, bringing him toys and books to lift his spirits. March 3, 1893, the journal continued. "Thomas is recovering well. His smile brightens my day. It is moments like these that remind me why I do this work. The joy and gratitude in their eyes make every effort worthwhile." Jack set the journal down, feeling a deep respect for Eleanor. She had not only provided material assistance but had also offered emotional support, forming genuine connections with those she helped. He thought about his own life, the distance he had maintained from others despite his wealth. Eleanor had taught him that true wealth was measured in relationships and the positive impact one could have on others. As Jack pondered these thoughts, he heard a knock on the front door. He made his way upstairs and opened it to find a woman standing there, her expression a mix of hope and apprehension. "Hello, my name is Margaret," she said, her voice soft but steady. "I heard you are the new owner of this mansion. I used to visit here often. Eleanor Whitfield was a dear friend of mine." Jack's heart skipped a beat. Meeting someone who had known Eleanor personally felt like a profound connection to the past. He invited Margaret inside, offering her a seat in the parlor. "Please, tell me about Eleanor," Jack urged, eager to hear first-hand accounts of the woman who had inspired him so deeply. Margaret smiled, her eyes lighting up with fond memories. Eleanor was a remarkable woman. She had a heart of gold and an incredible ability to make everyone feel valued and loved. She never turned anyone away, no matter how little she had to give. Jack listened intently as Margaret recounted stories of Eleanor's kindness. She spoke of how Eleanor had organized community gatherings, bringing people together to share food, music, and laughter. She described how Eleanor had once single-handedly rebuilt a family's home after a fire, rallying the community to help with the effort. "Eleanor believed in the power of community," Margaret said. "She knew that together, we could achieve so much more than we could alone. She was the glue that held us all together." Jack felt a swell of emotion. He could see how Eleanor's actions had created a ripple effect, touching countless lives and fostering a sense of unity. He realized that his mission was not just to continue Eleanor's work but to also build a community around it. Inspired by Margaret's stories, Jack decided to organize a gathering at the mansion. He wanted to bring people together, just as Eleanor had done, and to celebrate her legacy. He sent out invitations to local residents, community leaders, and volunteers from various organizations. The response was overwhelmingly positive, and soon, the mansion was buzzing with activity as preparations began. On the day of the event, the mansion was filled with warmth and laughter. People mingled in the grand ballroom, sharing stories and enjoying the food and music. Jack moved through the crowd, feeling a sense of fulfillment he had never known before. He saw the joy and connection that Eleanor had valued so deeply, and he felt honored to be a part of it. During the gathering, Jack stood before the assembled guests and shared Eleanor's story. He spoke of her dedication, her compassion, and her belief in the power of community. He read excerpts from her journals, allowing her words to resonate with everyone present. "Eleanor taught us that true wealth lies in the love and support we offer one another," Jack said, his voice filled with emotion. "She showed us that even the smallest acts of kindness can have a profound impact. It is my hope that we can all carry forward her legacy and continue to build a community based on compassion and generosity." The crowd responded with applause, and Jack felt a deep sense of connection with everyone in the room. He knew that Eleanor's spirit was present, guiding them toward a brighter future. As the evening drew to a close, Jack stood in the garden, looking out at the illuminated mansion. The stars twinkled overhead, and he felt a sense of peace and purpose. Eleanor's legacy was alive and thriving, and he was committed to honoring it in every way he could. In the days that followed, Jack continued to work with the community, supporting local initiatives and fostering connections. He felt a renewed sense of purpose, driven by Eleanor's example. The mansion, once a symbol of his wealth, had become a beacon of hope and possibility. And Jack knew that he was exactly where he was meant to be, continuing a legacy of kindness and compassion that would endure for generations to come. The first light of dawn crept into the mansion, casting a soft, golden hue over the room. Jack Thornton sat at the large oak desk in the library, Eleanor Whitfield's journals spread out before him. The air was thick with the scent of old paper and the faint aroma of freshly brewed coffee. Jack had spent the early hours reflecting on the previous night's gathering, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment and purpose. Eleanor's legacy had not only inspired the community but had also ignited a profound change within him. He flipped through the pages of the last journal, reading Eleanor's final entries. April 23, 1894, she wrote, "I see so much potential in this community. They have come together in ways I could never have imagined. My heart is full knowing that my efforts have made a difference. But there is still so much more to be done." Jack felt a pang of sadness, realizing that Eleanor had dedicated her life to others without expecting anything in return. He wondered what dreams and aspirations she might have set aside to focus on her mission. This realization deepened his resolve to honor her legacy by continuing her work and expanding it in ways she might have never imagined. Determined to take concrete steps, Jack decided to visit the local food bank, one of the many organizations Eleanor had supported. As he drove through the town, he noticed how the leaves had begun to turn, signaling the arrival of autumn. The vibrant reds, oranges, and yellows painted the landscape with a warmth that contrasted with the cool air. When Jack arrived at the food bank, he was greeted by Sarah, the coordinator. She was a middle-aged woman with kind eyes and a warm smile. "Jack, it's so good to see you." "Thank you for coming by," she said, shaking his hand. "I'm glad to be here, Sarah. I want to learn more about the work you're doing and see how I can help," Jack replied earnestly. Sarah led him on a tour of the facility, explaining their operations and the challenges they faced. "We serve hundreds of families every month, but the demand often exceeds our supplies. It's a constant struggle to keep our shelves stocked, especially as the colder months approach." Jack listened intently, taking in the magnitude of the need. He saw volunteers sorting donations, packing food boxes, and offering support to those who came in seeking assistance. The atmosphere was one of bustling activity, but also of compassion and community. After the tour, Jack and Sarah sat down in her small office. "I've been inspired by Eleanor Whitfield's story," Jack began. "She understood the importance of helping others, and I want to continue her legacy in a meaningful way. What can I do to support the food bank?" Sarah's eyes lit up with gratitude. "There are many ways you can help. Financial contributions are always welcome, but we also need volunteers, community outreach, and support for our programs. It's not just about providing food, it's about offering hope and a sense of security to those who are struggling." Jack nodded, his mind racing with ideas. "I want to do more than just donate money. I want to be involved, to use my resources and connections to make a real difference. Let's start by organizing a community food drive. We can rally local businesses, schools, and residents to contribute. And I'd like to volunteer my time here regularly." Sarah smiled, clearly moved by Jack's commitment. "That would be wonderful, Jack. Your support will make a tremendous impact. Eleanor would be proud." Over the next few weeks, Jack threw himself into the work. He organized the food drive, reaching out to local businesses and community members. The response was overwhelming, with donations pouring in and volunteers signing up to help. Jack spent his days at the food bank, getting to know the people who relied on its services and the volunteers who dedicated their time to making a difference. One evening, as the food drive was coming to a close, Jack found himself talking to a young mother named Emily. She was holding her toddler, a shy little girl with wide, curious eyes. "Thank you for everything you're doing," Emily said, her voice trembling with emotion. "This food bank has been a lifeline for us. I lost my job a few months ago, and things have been really tough. Knowing that we have this support means the world to me." Jack felt a lump in his throat. "It's people like you that inspire me, Emily. I'm glad we can help, and I'm committed to doing everything I can to support you and others in our community." As he watched Emily leave with her daughter, Jack felt a profound sense of purpose. He realized that his life had taken on a new direction, one that was guided by compassion and a desire to make a positive impact. He was no longer defined by his wealth, but by the connections he formed and the difference he made. In the weeks that followed, Jack continued to expand his efforts. He partnered with other local organizations, offering his support and resources. He hosted community events, bringing people together and fostering a sense of unity. He saw the changes in the community, the renewed hope and optimism, and he knew that Eleanor's legacy was thriving. One afternoon, Jack received a letter from Margaret, the woman who had shared her memories of Eleanor. She wrote about how proud she was of the work he was doing and how much it reminded her of Eleanor's spirit. "You have breathed new life into this community," she wrote. "Eleanor's legacy lives on through you. Jack folded the letter and placed it on his desk, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. The hidden room, the journals, and the artifacts had not only connected him to the past but had also charted a new path for his future. He knew that there was still much work to be done, but he was ready for the challenge. As the sun set, casting a warm glow over the mansion, Jack stood in the garden, reflecting on the journey that had brought him here. He felt a sense of peace and fulfillment, knowing that he was honoring Eleanor's legacy and making a difference in the world. And as the stars began to twinkle in the evening sky, Jack knew that he was exactly where he was meant to be. The crisp autumn air was filled with the sounds of laughter and conversation as the community gathered in the mansion's garden. Jack Thornton stood near the entrance, greeting guests as they arrived for the event he had organized in honor of Eleanor Whitfield. The garden was adorned with twinkling lights and colorful decorations, creating a warm and inviting atmosphere. Long tables were set up, laden with food and drinks, and a small stage had been erected for speeches and performances. Jack felt a sense of pride and fulfillment as he watched people milling about, sharing stories and enjoying each other's company. It had been months since he first discovered the hidden room in Eleanor's journals, and in that time, he had worked tirelessly to continue her legacy. The community had come together in ways he had never imagined, and tonight was a celebration of that unity. Margaret approached Jack with a warm smile. "It's a beautiful evening, Jack. Eleanor would be so proud of what you've accomplished." Jack returned her smile, feeling a deep connection to the woman who had shared so much about Eleanor. "Thank you, Margaret. I couldn't have done it without the support of everyone here. This is as much their achievement as it is mine." As the sun set, casting a golden glow over the garden, Jack took the stage. The crowd fell silent, their faces illuminated by the soft light of the lanterns. Jack looked out at the sea of expectant faces, feeling a wave of gratitude. "Good evening, everyone," he began, his voice steady and warm. "Thank you all for being here tonight. This gathering is a tribute to Eleanor Whitfield, a remarkable woman who dedicated her life to helping others. Her spirit of compassion and generosity has inspired me and, I hope, many of you as well." He paused, letting his words sink in. "When I first discovered Eleanor's journals, I was struck by her selflessness and her unwavering commitment to her community. She understood that true wealth is not measured in material possessions but in the love and support we offer one another. It's a lesson that has profoundly changed my life." Jack gestured toward the plaque that had been placed in the garden in Eleanor's honor. "Tonight, we unveil this plaque to commemorate Eleanor's legacy. But more importantly, we celebrate the spirit of community that she embodied. We are here to continue her work, to support each other, and to build a brighter future together." The crowd erupted in applause, and Jack felt a deep sense of accomplishment. He stepped down from the stage, his heart full as people came forward to share their own stories of how Eleanor had touched their lives. Margaret approached the plaque, gently running her fingers over the engraved words. Tears welled in her eyes as she read the tribute to her dear friend. Throughout the evening, Jack moved through the crowd, listening to conversations and sharing in the joy of the moment. He spoke with volunteers from the food bank, local business owners who had contributed to the community efforts, and families who had benefited from the support provided. Each interaction reinforced the importance of the work they were doing and the difference it was making. As the night wore on, Jack found himself standing by the mansion, looking out at the garden filled with people. He felt a presence beside him and turned to see Sarah, the coordinator from the food bank. "Jack, this is incredible," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "You've brought this community together in a way that I've never seen before." Jack smiled, feeling a deep sense of camaraderie. "It's not just me, Sarah. It's all of us. Eleanor showed us the way, and we're just following her example." Sarah nodded, her eyes shining with gratitude. "You've done more than that, Jack. You've inspired us to believe in ourselves and in each other. That's a gift that we'll keep giving long after tonight." As the evening came to a close, Jack gathered everyone around the plaque for a final moment of reflection. The garden was quiet, the only sounds the rustling of leaves and the distant chirping of crickets. Jack looked out at the faces of his friends and neighbors, feeling a deep connection to each of them. "Tonight, we've celebrated Eleanor's legacy and the strength of our community," Jack said softly. "But our work doesn't end here. Let's carry this spirit of unity and compassion forward. Let's continue to support each other and make a difference in the lives of those around us. Together, we can create a future that Eleanor would be proud of." The crowd murmured in agreement, and Jack felt a surge of hope. As the guests began to disperse, he walked back toward the mansion, feeling a sense of peace and purpose. The hidden room, once a forgotten corner of the house, had become a place of inspiration and renewal. Jack entered the hidden room, now illuminated by the soft glow of a lamp. He sat at the old oak desk, looking at the journals and artifacts that had started it all. He opened the final journal, reading Eleanor's last entry once more. June 15, 1894, she had written, "I am grateful for the life I have lived and the people I have met. I hope that my efforts have made a difference and that my legacy will inspire others to continue this work. There is so much good to be done in the world, and I believe in the power of kindness and community." Jack closed the journal, feeling a deep sense of connection to Eleanor. Her words had become a guiding light in his life, and he was determined to honor her legacy in every way he could. As he left the hidden room and walked through the mansion, Jack felt a sense of fulfillment and joy. He knew that his life had taken a new path, one filled with purpose and meaning. And as he stepped outside into the cool night air, he looked up at the stars, feeling a profound sense of gratitude. The mansion, once a symbol of wealth and status, had become a beacon of hope and compassion. Jack knew that the work he had started would continue, supported by the strength of the community and the enduring legacy of Eleanor Whitfield. And with that thought, he smiled, ready to embrace whatever the future held.